Growing up all over NYC, I used to eat busloads of gluten. We're talking pizza, pasta, bagels, matzah. Now I live in Cali and eat fresh, organic, local food. You can take the girl out of Brooklyn, but you can't take the Brooklyn out of the girl. You can, however, take the gluten out of her, and she'll get a lot more healthy, but no less sweet. Join me in the kitchen, keeping it real, for real stories of my life's adventures and some really delicious gluten-free food. What do you say when you tell someone that you live with a fatiguing illness and they say, I'm really tired too? Hi, welcome to today's episode of In the Kitchen, Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Ariyele, and today we're going to be making a really chronic illness-friendly meal. It's fast, it requires minimal energy, and it's pretty loaded with nutrients. And if you don't even have enough energy to do this one, I'm going to give you some tips about how you can get some help to get it done. It's more on the minimal side, but when you're sick, when you're tired, when you're dealing with sore throat, headache, flu-like symptoms, tremors, seizures, vertigo, these are all the things that I've dealt with in the course of my illness. There's only so much that you can do. So one of the things that I'm strongly going to recommend that you do or get help doing is make a bone broth. Bone broth is going to be crucial to helping build the energy back up in your body, to just nourishing yourself as much as possible. When you're sick and you're down and you're just feeling terrible, bone broth is the answer. I think when you make a bone, it smells like chicken soup. It's basically the broth of a chicken soup, and who hasn't had that when they're sick? And when you're chronically sick, you especially want it. All the stuff that I have set up already, it did not take me very long, although it did take some energy, and I'm going to give you some tips about that. So here I have some greens. When I was really ill, I'm still dealing with my illness, but I'm taking this medication and it's really helping me, and it's getting me to the point where, for example, I can work and operate these shoes. You know, I definitely flag, I've definitely worked through headaches, and I've had to push a little bit. And as all of you people out there who have ever struggled with chronic illness know, you know, there's a price to pay for that. I'm gonna definitely have some tiredness later and need to rest and probably crash and not be able to do very much for a few days. What I'm doing right here is chopping up some shallots. And I wanna share an awesome resource with you that back when I was bedbound for about a year, and I needed help doing everything. I needed help going to the bathroom, which is not something you really wanna think about or hear here in the kitchen, but that's how sick I was. I couldn't not really walk on my own. I also want to do this show and share my food with you because it's so healthy for you. Obviously, that's one of the reasons that I'm gluten-free, because gluten is kind of hard for the body to process, and I was trying to take all of the stress that I could off of my body, since my body was obviously under so much stress with whatever this thing was that I was dealing with. And it's a bit of a mystery. People really don't know. They're figuring it out, and I've got a good team of medical doctors, and like I said, I'm doing this medication, so there's hope for sure. And I want to share that hope with you. And I want to say, if you could have seen me, and maybe at the end of this video, I'll put a photo in of when I was in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair, and I could not walk. So in that time, I would have been so happy to know about a resource called TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit.com. TaskRabbit.com is a website where you can post tasks that you need help doing, like grocery shopping, like going to doctor's appointments. You can literally post a task for someone to help take you to the doctor, drive you back, and if money's an issue, which it often is for us because we get taken out of the real world, we can't work, sometimes we're living on limited disability checks, they're small, right? Depending on how young you are, I mean, I was really young, so I hadn't worked very long before I needed to stop. You know, that's not affordable. But on TaskRabbit, people will bid for your, for whatever it is that you need their help with. And you can set the price. You can say, I can't spend more than this much. And in your post, you can say, I'm living with a chronic illness, I need help getting to the doctor. And in my experience with TaskRabbit, which wasn't around when I was in bed, I would have loved for it to have been, but which is around now, and I've had some TaskRabbits help me with the show because I couldn't do all the work on my own. It was just too much and I was too tired. they will come through and they will help you. So it's really a godsend. What I did do at that time, when I didn't have the energy to go to the grocery store, when the only energy that I had was to take myself to the doctor, and that was it. What I did do was I signed up for a Farm Fresh box, Stats. So that's where this stuff comes from. Literally, I did not go to the farmer's market for this. This showed up in my box. I still get one in order to give myself a backup in case I can't, you know, shop. And I've so far been very lucky. You can see there's some physical work that I'm doing here. I'm lifting pots, I'm chopping things, I'm lifting this knife. If all of these tasks are too much for you, as they were for me at one time, definitely get some help with TaskRabbit. I also have an amazing supportive partner, and back then, you know, he would either do the cooking or he would say, give me some direction. And so that's where I could say, hey, there are some shallots in a bowl, they showed up in the box, can you please peel them and prepare them for me to be ready? Can you chop them? So you could come into the kitchen with limited energy, in your pajamas, as I am now, and just have these things ready for you. And here's a bone broth. You don't need to use a bone broth, but I would really recommend it for the physical benefits that it gives you. You can use water if that's what you have. And I threw in 2 cups of red lentils. The red lentil is a lentil, it cooks really fast. You can make a large quantity at one time and either keep that in soup form, throw in some collard greens or whatever greens show up in your veggie box that you do not have to shop for, and a shallot will boost that flavor right up because, you know, we don't have time for gourmet when we don't feel well, but a shallot will add a lot of good flavor to your dish along with the bone broth and some lemon. No problem. And if squeezing, if you can't do that with your hands, you can have, again, somebody come over and help you with that. Or, you know, if you have good friends or family members that are supportive of you, which is so important, do that. There was a time, like I said, when I was sick and I would just not eat because there was nobody to do it for me. Then TaskRabbit didn't exist or I didn't know about it. And you could have someone, you could hire someone if you have resources to cook the whole thing for you. Or shop for the fresh food from the farmer's market and prepare it for you, and then you could log onto the video and hang out with me. The question of this episode comes from, literally you can see, I just want to make note that I'm literally just standing here. That's all I'm doing right now. That's done, that's going to be done. So in this time, I'm blessed with the ability to stand here and continue talking to you. It wasn't beyond me at a certain point to sit on the kitchen floor and just wait. We're back. Our lentils are done. We took 5-minute, 10-minute break, did a little resting and a little chatting. I shared more with the crew about my experience. And you can see, now see, that's effort to lift that pot. So if you can't do it, you can put it right over there. You don't need to lift it. I've got lentils, they're all cooked up in bone broth, but you could use water. Obviously the bone broth will add more flavor. Some collard greens. And this is a 1-pot meal, babies. And put those right in there, and your shallots are gonna do all the work for your flavor. And again, you know, when you're sick, gourmet is not the goal, right? It's just good life, good living. To try and have as good of a day as you possibly can with the limitations that you're facing, and to not get too sad. And for me, food is one of the most pleasurable things. And to feel, I remember when I was so sick, one of my few goals was to get dressed before the man came home and to cook something, because it just gave me the feeling that I was doing something. And not that we need to be doing things, right? The illness taught me a lot about just being, and I think our culture emphasizes the importance of doing. And when I couldn't do, I felt like useless and really powerless and like a waste of space, which was not fun. And obviously that's not true, right? So, and you're done. Nice, green, easy. You can puree that before you put the greens in and just keep them some mashed. It's soft going down if you have a sore throat. It's nice and warm. And if you wanted to add more broth to that and get it more soupy, you can. And whatever vegetables show up in your box, you can throw them in there. It's that simple. And while this is on, you can go and lay down on the couch, put something on for your eyes if you're tired, have a timer on hand, or your phone if you have a smartphone that has a timer on it. Just set it, close your eyes, and when it goes off, you just have to get up and make it happen and turn it off. And if not, if you can't, if the exertion just kills you from those 10 minutes, what I used to do would be call a neighbor. If you've got any neighbors that can swing by and help you out and just turn off your pot for you. So that's part one, hopefully, of many more in cooking with chronic illness, and I really hope that people out there are feeling as well as possible. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in my kitchen and listening to some of the more sad but real parts of my life. I really feel vulnerable sharing it, but know that there's a lot of you out there that understand. And for those of you who don't, one thing I was saying earlier about the question is, everybody's tired from time to time. The kind of tired that people with chronic illness feel is a different kind of tired. It's kind of like the analogy I use is wearing one of those jackets, an x-ray jacket, or a few of them that's really heavy on your body. And that's not the kind of tiredness that your average person, when they say I'm tired too, is talking about. So not to be aggressive with you and say like, but just to say, be mindful of that if you're listening and talking to someone, because I know for myself that I would really have appreciated that. And the few times that people did say, I don't know what you're going through, I really did appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I really hope that, as I said, you feel as well as possible. Ciao.
Check it out. Yeah, I just want to talk to y'all